Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film Gravity. It's the latest film from Alfonso Cuarón. It's his first film in 7 years. Sandra Bullock's character of Ryan Stone, who is in space with George Clooney's character and another guy, who are fixing the Hubble Space Telescope and installing new things within it. And then while they're doing that, debris from a failed attempt from the Russian astronauts to destroy a satellite that are heading their way and destroy the spaceship that they're connected to while they're fixing the Hubble telescope, and leaving Sandra Bullock and George Clooney alone trying to find a way to survive in space. Even though this film is a very big movie with big movie stars and a big budget, it has a very small kind of intimate setting to it. That makes it even more intense and immersive. I saw this film at the IMAX at Lincoln Square. I was very immersed in this film. I couldn't really get out of this film. It wrapped me up like a blanket, but its intimate, small setting kind of made it, being immersed in it, even more terrifying because it felt so human. It has such amazing technical feats to it. The special effects are just absolutely amazing. What he does with those special effects to make it look like there's a camera there, but it feels like they actually shot it in space. And there is that kind of feeling throughout it, that the camera's really there, but the camera does things, at least the camera in this film does things that a camera could never do, like going in and out of space helmets and moving around and doing these long, I think it's like a 20-minute take. I don't know how long it really is, but it's a very long take at the beginning. And the way they use the camera, and Emmanuel Lubezki, who's credited as the cinematographer, but they do so much with special effects, I wonder, can he be credited as cinematographer? Was he like sitting with the special effects people? How did that exactly work? I love Emmanuel Lubezki. Doesn't feel like his kind of Terrence Malick work or any of the work he's ever done before. He's known to doing some amazing tracking shots with Alfonso Cuarón in the last film, Children of Men. And it also kind of reminds me of the kind of filmmaking Alfonso Cuarón brought to the Harry Potter films, because he of course directed the third Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And he loves doing these amazing tracking shots that get a lot of information done, always feel epic. They're both like arty and audience friendly at the same time. And I think Alfonso Cuarón, in his last 3 films, meaning the third Harry Potter film, Children of Men and Gravity, have this kind of sense to them where obviously they're all big budget films, and they kind of want to be big budget films. And Gravity very much is a thrill ride. Wants to please you as an audience member, but also wants to be arty and odd and do different kind of things. It's not making any apologies about it either. It's really kind of shoving it in your face, but also doing the normal blockbuster thing where it's appealing to you at the same time. Alfonso Cuarón's really interesting with a big budget. I like this kind of stage in his career because I can't think of anyone else who, when they've been given these chances that he has remained as risky as he has. The scope of this film moves so quickly in kind of a smaller film way. You see the Earth and you have these huge amazing shots that I've never seen in this film. You have these tons of space, but as big as this film felt, it felt really small and relatable. It doesn't feel like a big epic. It feels like a very intimate, closer, arty film at the same time. It's what Alfonso Cuarón did with this. It's almost like unexplainable as I'm explaining it. I love how the music uses a similar theme going throughout it. This score was done by Stephen Price, who has also done the score for The World's End and Attack the Block. This score reminded me almost like a John Carpenter score, where he uses a similar musical idea going throughout it, if you think of Halloween especially, and he keeps using a certain musical theme. And every time he'd use that theme, I never got sick of it, but it's like everything they technically did to make this film work also worked in a way to not let this film drown in its size. It's crazy to see such a big budget movie that doesn't want to introduce you to a crazy world and have crazy crowd shots and tons of casts and insane action sequences. These action sequences are important, and they want to make them exciting and thrilling and have you really there and everything like that. But it's like the real emotion of it, the real human element of it is really at the forefront. It's really about this Sandra Bullock's character trying to survive. Sandra Bullock has never been someone I've really liked. She usually picks films I'm not really fond of, but I think this is the first time I've really seen her as an actress. I was kind of surprised how good she really was in this, how she really uses that relatability that she has through her performance. It is good they have movie stars in this rather than just a regular actor, because we can relate to Sandra Bullock because we already have a relationship with Sandra Bullock. She's been a movie star since the 90s, since Speed, which was another thriller ride. Having a familiarity with these actors definitely helps this film. It makes it more terrifying because you feel like that you know them. Anytime they do character development or Clooney tells one of his many stories he tells in this film, it makes it scarier because you're like, whoa, I think these guys might not make it. This film almost feels like it's not safe in a lot of places, which is insane to think for a film with movie stars, because usually you're like, well, everybody else is gonna die, but there's a real sense that they will die. They understood how to use their movie star personas in this film, and a lot of actors, I think the problem when you become a movie star and you have a certain persona on screen, get really safe in it. But mostly Sandra Bullock, because she's in a majority of the film, she uses it in a way I haven't seen someone use since an older Hollywood actor. The way they use the camera reminds me of old Hollywood films, because a lot of times in older Hollywood films they didn't have as much cutting as we do now. I mean, well, we have a lot of cutting now, and what they would do is they would move the camera in and out. And oftentimes when I watch old Hollywood films and it's a movie I like, I will rewatch it and realize, like, oh, I thought there were like 8 cuts in here, but it's really the camera slowly zooming in and zooming out and working with the performers and working with the scene and doing something where it's almost like in-camera editing, but there's no editing. And there's oftentimes where I didn't notice editing anymore, which is a real compliment to this movie. And I know they used a lot of special effects to really do, there were some things that were probably like a ton of shots that they combined, but the way they did it felt like an old Hollywood way. This was actually also shot by the cinematographer who shot with Alfonso Cuarón for the Harry Potter film. He did additional camera work, so it's like the 2 guys who did his 2 previous big budget Hollywood films working together or melding those two different DPs. It's such an amazingly different shot film, and those shots of Earth, especially when you see that darkness in space and you just see a few glowing lights off their spacesuits and everything, it's just gorgeous and amazing. There's some birth imagery and rebirth imagery going on in this film, which some are, I think one was fairly obvious, where she gets in the airlock and she's in the fetal position and you can see behind her there are these like cords going that almost look like, I guess there'd be like umbilical cords on her or something in the background. That was very striking imagery, and although it was a bit much imagery wise, as simplistic maybe, I thought it was very stunning. This is really a very different studio film, a very different big budget thrill ride than you're used to. It does feel a little excessive at parts. It does feel like it's trying to give more obstacles in it to make it more exciting, but I don't view that as a problem because I had such a great time with it. What really brings this film out and makes this film so special is the human element that Alfonso Cuarón brought out through the Sandra Bullock character. There's certainly a lot of directors who know how to move a camera around and have a lot of cool special effects and do cool sequences, and that's certainly an awesome thing, and I don't mind seeing it over and over again. But Alfonso Cuarón's the only one who knows how to do that and combine it with a small film at the same time. He's not getting lost in his epic scale while still getting you lost in its epic scale. So if you have seen Gravity and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.